4, 3, 2, 1, 0. I hear voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me. Ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka. Phenomena. Tiptoe through the tulips with me.
You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to...
This one's explosive.
Dare to care and say a prayer, because we're hitting you up live on the air. Like gasoline to a flame and demons to someone sane. We are your spiritual truth plane.
You're listening to Talk Supernatural Radio, where we truthcast live from the U.S. to the U.K., up north to down under, Rhode Island to Easter Island, Poop Out Hill, California to Santa Claus, Georgia. And if you're listening, you are right where you're supposed to be.
Hey, what's up, para-peers? We are Scott and Heidi Linden here again, opening the eyes of the blind and getting through to the minds of denial. We're airing reality with true news, laughs, facts, experiences, stories, and words to live right by.
Oh, yeah. And we are here at another Friday night, so once again, we are going to rock it out. To start off, though, as always, we have some TSR TGI Friday News of the Week. Okay, so just when you think you couldn't get any cooler, Snoop Dogg. He is now popular in Romania. So Snoop Dogg has mistakenly tagged himself in a small Romanian village. He did a show in Bogota, Colombia, but inadvertently checked himself in as being in the Romanian city Bogota, or he was in, he was in Bogota, Colombia, but he said he was in Bogota. So it was just like one letter off.
One letter, yeah.
So
A or an O.
Yeah, so inadvertently he checked himself in a totally different place. Well, Romania quickly capitalized on this. They established an English language website that featured pictures of rolling green hills and promised with Snoop Dogg's, you know how he talks all crazy and stuff? Yeah. Well, they tagged him, and then they said, the chillest weekend you could imagine. So the town thanked Snoop Dogg on Facebook and said that Bogota in Romania fiddly means the rich one. And in response, the rapper formerly known as Snoop Lion threw up another pic on Instagram and showed himself smoking a joint and said he's going to give a shout out to my Romanian fans. The boss dog come through real soon. And he endorsed the hashtag campaign, Visit Bogota.
Well.
So just when he can't get any cooler, now he's popular in Romania. Oh,
yeah, well.
It happens.
It's good.
Okay, do you know what the 8th commandment is? Thou shalt not steal. But people can name like 8 beers, but they can't name 8 commandments. That's pretty sad. Well, apparently the 8th commandment was not on this Pennsylvania nun's shopping list because she was arrested after stealing $23 worth of snacks, shampoo, coffee, and soap from a surplus store. A shopper told a manager that the woman appeared to be stealing merchandise, and when the manager watched her drive away, he took down her license plate number, and it was 78-year-old Sister Agnes Pinedo. She brought the store's red shopping bags in her purse into the store. She put the stolen items inside her purse, waited, like she put everything in the bag so that, it looked like she was already shopping or she bought it already. And then she waited until someone entered the store, ran out of the entrance so she wouldn't have to walk past the checkout line. This nun did this. 78-year-old nun. Not only is she old, but she's a nun. So she was charged with a summary offense, which means in exchange for a guilty plea, she'd just have to pay a fine. Okay. So much for the nuns.
Oh, yeah.
They're human too. Nuns make mistakes too.
Yeah, they probably don't make much money. So.
That's what you need. $23 worth of snacks and shampoo. Here's one. Aaron Rodgers has seen a UFO.
Really?
Yes. He, this was back in 2005, I think it was. But he says that he was at a friend's house and it was like a snowy night or whatever, and they heard this like weird siren noise outside, so they were just chill out, on the couch and stuff, and it was like midnight or something. It was late. So they go outside, and it's like snowy and everything, and they see this orange thing hovering in the sky, and they saw fighter jets coming at it and everything, and they were freaking out. It was like 3 witnesses, him, his friend, and his friend's
He's
brother.
from California, right?
Yeah,
So...
and I think he was in California, too. You'd have to look up the story. I didn't get all the details, but I just had to throw it in there in the news because I'm like, oh, little paranormal, little Packers. Love it.
Yeah, paranormal Packers, PP.
Yeah. Pay. Hashtag. All right. Cat burglar, literally. A cat has stolen more than 60 pieces of underwear in 2 months, and it's all men's underwear. A 6-year-old cat named Bridget has collected 11 pairs of pants and 50 socks from strangers, and she brought them to her home in New Zealand. The owner, Sarah Nathan, says she kept the items and posts leaflets around the community apologizing for the feline theft, offering to return the items. If the victims come forward, that is. Hey, you took my underwear.
Yeah, mine's the ones with the skits.
Gross. No, the cat always strikes at night, and she says they all seem clean, so they might be coming off the washing line. She says it's really weird. She really gets into specific tastes. She decided male undies is the thing, and it's very specific kind of underpants she likes, too. And so she laid out all these different underwear.
Took a picture?
It's
That's
hilarious.
funny.
And the
That's
cat's
hilarious.
just sitting there. Like, oh, boy. Ay, ay. Another story. A woman tracks down sperm donor and marries him. So I think it's like Amania Hart. She's from Australia. She had 2 boys, but they both died at a very young age. She later found out that she had a rare genetic disorder which only affects the male offspring. So unfortunately, that's why these boys died. So like any normal person would do, she goes in vitro. So she got to pick her baby daddy through profilers. Mm-hmm. And because that's the wave of the wave of the world now.
The way of the world.
And she chose this cattle farmer named Scott Anderson, who was 45, because he described himself as happy and healthy. So a year or so passed, she gets pregnant, and she has this baby. A year or so passes, and Amania decides to track down the man who bequeathed his goods to her. So she emails him, and when he saw how much this little girl looked like him, they began emailing back and forth, which led for him to come visit the Lounge Down Under. 2 years later, they're married. Isn't that cute?
That is.
It all worked out in the
it
end.
is. Yeah.
She's probably like, man, if I could have just waited, I could have had it both. I loved it. Next story. Spirit in the Sky. The paranormal world is in a tizzy. Hundreds of people reported seeing floating buildings or a city in the skies above China. The videos and pics galore of the mysterious tower and blocks are all over the internet. We've seen the video, the pictures. It's pretty cool looking. So it's in China's, and I think it's called Liaoning province. I don't know how to pronounce that. Liaoning. Yeah. It appears over the sea in the port of Dalian, and the paranormal enthusiasts are crying aliens or another dimension trying to communicate with us. One video that I saw, the guy goes, you hear him go, wow, not again. What is happening? Are the aliens really trying to get through to us from another dimension and showing us what their world is like? I'm like, oh,
that's it. He nailed it right in the head there.
Conspiracy theorists speculate that it's a hologram placed in the sky by the government. Project
Conspiracy, man.
That's what I'm leaning towards. It was placed in the sky by the government. Project Blue Beam. They have the capabilities to do that.
You look that up. Blue Beam.
Project Blue Beam.
And all sorts of cool, gnarly things the government's doing, man.
I think it was them.
Yeah.
Maybe they're possibly testing the general public to see how they would react to these events. That's what I think. What do you think?
It's a city in the sky.
Well, you saw the video. What do you think?
I don't know.
They're trying to say that it's some kind of illusion with the little pixel dusts in the sky. And I'm like, you can't make... Why have we never...
Squares.
Yeah, like it looks like a whole city. And then I'm thinking, but why is this the only time we've ever heard of it? Like, if this was something that is sort of common, we've never heard of it before. So I do think it's a hologram. I think that's what they're doing. I think they're testing.
Gotta mess with somebody's mind.
Or maybe like in that movie, Christmas.
Like you had said this morning when we were talking about this, was that you go someplace where the social media is not as
Yeah.
You test things so that you can test it without getting all this hoopla.
Hoopla. Because if they did in the United States, Alex
Right.
Jones would be, like, on it.
Right.
So,
So
in
you go
China,
someplace-
they're like,
China.
they may not know about Project Blue Beam.
Can't get into North Korea, so I couldn't do it there. Blow them up!
Okay, so speaking of government testing, tonight's topic is about just that.
Hidden power, secrets, covers up, corruption. We're talking about Plum Island. Or as some would say, Island.
Island. Plum Island. Okay, so many of you guys have heard of this already, and the reason we're discussing it now is because when it came out years ago, it was totally just blown and online with stories, blogs, theories, videos, and since then, it's sort of been forgotten, okay? But all new weird diseases are breaking out. Water contaminations in Michigan, the Zika virus, Elizabeth Kinga, and others that are tied into this that you're going to hear in a bit. So we thought that we should revisit it and bring it back to the table.
How about a little bit of good news? Sorry, don't have any.
Okay, so just to give you guys a little bit of a foundation here, Plum Island, if you don't know, is a top secret, but not too much anymore, government island. It's a germ lab, now supposedly closed and moving to Kansas, but locals are saying it's still open, and they would know. It's deemed an animal disease center. The official title is Military Academical Industrial Complex. So it's a secret biowarfare compound on an 843-acre island. It employs about 400 people. It's right next.
Ooh, glow in the dark, might I mention?
It's right next to New York City and Boston. It's 2 miles off the coast of Long Island. It's 70 miles from New York City, and it's near Connecticut and Boston. The ferry to Connecticut goes right by it.
It's real easy to find if you're on the ferry, because as you're going by, that's where all the fish are floating on the surface.
All the birds are glowing and diving into windows.
And the bugs are the size of small cars. But other than that, absolutely normal.
Yeah.
The small green haze above everything,
Don't
worry
worry
about it. Red flags should go up when you hear that it was head up by a Nazi whose expertise was biological warfare through the infecting of insects.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, nothing like getting a good old Nazi, saying, we'll infect the bugs.
He's got that going for him.
Yeah.
So people want to know, are they studying germs, disease for animals, or are they using this as weapons for terrorism?
Or is it a solution for population control?
Well, Plum Island was used as a military base during the Spanish and American War, and in 1954 it was turned into a government animal disease center. The center was supposedly established to study the foot and mouth disease in cattle, which, if you guys don't know, it's a highly contagious disease that's rare in humans, but can clean out farms and the livestock industry. So the center was run by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, but in 2002 was transferred to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security.
For those of you that don't know, the DHS, which is Department of Homeland Security, is responsible for ensuring the safety and the security of the U.S. from terrorist attacks, disasters. So why would they want to take over a germ lab? One word, biowarfare.
Yeah, duh. But, of course, they say, no.
No.
You guys are silly. We wouldn't do that to you. We
But
love you.
it's a very common thing. In fact, ISIS has used some biowarfare already.
Right.
So it's not like, what? No, it's being used. Now, we're talking about much higher levels of this stuff, too, where you can take on... The whole purpose of biowarfare when you're dealing with population control is being discreet.
Yeah.
You want to be discreet. You want to do things slowly, a little here, a little there, a little here, a little there, a little here, a little there. Which, if the people live through it, well, you made millions of dollars anyways off their care through insurance companies, everything like that. It's just a big circle of hoopla.
Hoopla.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, but the problem is they were trying to be discreet, and it was fine for so long, but then, you got a lot of these people that come out and notice things, and they underestimate those people.
1 out of a million have a conscience. And you don't know what they're going to say.
Okay, so through time, some have denied that that's what they're doing over there, and some actually have confirmed it. It goes from hush-hush to awkward explanations, depending on who you talk to. So you can do all you want research on this, but you're going to find all different conflicting things from people who are there. Now, Plum Island does research into incurable and deadly airborne diseases that transfer from animals to humans. So we know that. But basically, what are they doing with it, and what else are they doing?
Isn't it funny, though, that as we've looked at this stuff and checked out things through the years and just, cite here, this, that, you realize that all these so-called deadly incurable diseases were created by man.
I know.
They weren't actually... in most cases, were not created by nature itself or something like that. It's like, no, actually, all these things that we've been suffering for and getting worse and worse have been created by man.
Yep. We're our own enemy.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So, lovely.
Yeah. This place is all creepy looking. It's got like this slaughterhouse-style cattle chute for testing cows that were pinned outside. It's really creepy.
Well, it consists of various laboratory facilities, and they study exotic diseases of animals. Now, a few weeks ago, we talked about how in 2009 that Bill Gates Foundation founded OIT, a British biotech company, in genetically modified mosquitoes.
It was funded. They didn't found them.
Funded.
They gave them money.
They funded them.
Yeah.
They funded them.
They had
found
fun.
them and they funded them.
They had
They had fun founding them. So they were from the Zika Forest. Did I say that right? Zika. There's no Zika Forest expedition, where monkeys from Uganda were infected in the 1940s. Now, field trials of these modified mosquitoes were done in Brazil. And now, look at the outbreak they have.
Yep. So it's also important to know that the Zika virus rarely caused infections in humans before this.
Well, they're going to, that's...
So there's a pattern.
The mosquito mosquito and the tick and stuff seems to be one of the most common insects because they're everywhere.
Right.
You can almost go nowhere without a mosquito.
Well, and they go...
You're in the middle of a desert.
They're looking for the insects that go to the blood.
Right. You're looking for something that transfers into the blood. So that's why they always pick on the poor state bird.
The mosquito. But, they wouldn't do a fly. Flies are everywhere because flies really don't do a
and they don't really bite you.
Right.
Right. And spiders, if you did that, you don't get enough contact. They're not everywhere. They're not. So a mosquito, he just keeps cruising along.
Digs right in there. Yeah.
It breeds fast, quickly.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, Plum Island was mandated by Congress, and Congress mandated them so that Plum Island could study and research diseases and vaccines for diseases that are not allowed in the U.S. So they had to go out of their way to mandate them to be able to have these diseases that we're not supposed to have in the first place.
Right.
I'm like, what?
So you just change the rules.
Yeah, that's basically what they did.
Just kind of say, it's like...
Classic government.
You take something that doesn't seem to be right morally or whatever, so you just rename it. Now it's okay.
Yeah, and change it and hope that no one notices, and if they do, come up with a good lie. Spokespeople from Plum Island have always claimed that they don't do anything in the biowarfare area, but the Government Accountability Office reported in 2003 that they were doing a project for the Department of Defense. They were trying to change camelpox into something like smallpox, which that would be biowarfare then.
Right.
This is ultimately violating the Geneva Conventions, which are treaties that establish humanitarian treatment of anyone rendered incapable of fighting like you and I. Like, we have no defense against that. They're not supposed to be doing this.
So what happened was this. Someone broke the rules. The U.S. found out, so they wanted to be one-up on them, if not just prepared of chemical or biowarfare used on us. But who do you think they're testing it on?
Right.
Yeah, they test the animals first, but ultimately they still have to know how it affects humans. So you got to pick out some little village. Hope you don't live in a small village.
Great. Well, the chief Nazi scientist and viroologist, Erich Traub, ran a Nazi germ warfare lab during World War II. He was of high Nazi regime. And instead of, punishing him for his crimes, they decided to recruit him.
Yeah.
Keep
your enemies close.
Yeah. He developed a concept.
You'll make disease for us.
It's about what happened, too. We let you live.
Let you live, you make disease.
Well, he originally developed a concept of deadly viruses in insects. He'd take the animal disease, put them into ticks, and then release the ticks into a bioweapon army. Well, the government program was called Operation Paperclip, and that was for them to exploit the post-war scientific knowledge of enemies. And we sort of talked about when, was it, I don't know, a week or two ago about Japan when they did that. And then we said, okay, we won't punish you for your war crimes, but you give us what you know. So it's basically the same thing. It's common.
It's trade.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one was Werner von Braun, who helped start NASA. You start to wonder, did Germany really lose, or did they just get relocated to the U.S.?
The supposed animal research could wipe out the whole human race. And just like in the movie The Stand, the Stephen King movie The Stand, if you guys didn't see it, it's like the 7-part series that I absolutely love. But all it takes is one leak to get out
it's just
one
the thing,
person.
too, is there's so little anybody can do about
and
it.
then you cough on someone else. That's it. It's done.
Yeah. What do you do about it? You can point all this stuff out, but once stuff is out and loose and about,
Yeah, you're done.
I mean, if they wanted to, imagine all these different places could open up their doors right now and just let this stuff out. They'd pretty much wipe us out.
You know, all they'd have to do is go to one airport, like a big airport, like LAX or something.
Right,
And,
just let a few little coughs and sneezes go, a little couple bugs, or
and everybody that's traveling different places, it's
go
done.
everywhere. Before you know it, dead, gone.
Like World War
despair.
Z, it's over, man.
So the U.S. has germ labs all over the country, maybe in your backyard. Now, supposedly for vaccines to protect us from the bioterror. But in 2001, 200 high containment labs. In 2010, there are at least 1,300 of those. And that's what's on record. There's many more that are off the record. So 6 years ago, that's roughly 26 facilities per state, assuming we know them all.
Right. Isn't that crazy?
So
Wow.
the chances of living much longer are quite slim. You might as well listen in while you can.
Okay, well, we talked
What you
about.
gonna do when the after you germ warm?
Other countries are capable of using this.
Oops, what was that?
Ugh. I hate bugs and mosquitoes already. And that's how the Zika virus is going around. Yeah, is through mosquitoes. And then, like you said, other countries are capable of doing this.
Off should make a lot of money this year.
That off doesn't really work.
Oh, well, it keeps them off.
It doesn't really. I don't think so.
It does. It helps.
Maybe.
If you bathe in it.
Yeah, and then you smell wonderful. Ew. That's better
No.
than sweat, I guess. So if all these other countries are using this biowarfare, you would think that this defense research would be a good thing. And their approach is that a terrorist may create this new pathogen, so they want to be equipped and see what's possible.
Yes.
I get that. And then hopefully build up a defense against it. But it's all the lies and the secrecy and now the outpouring of these bizarre diseases all around the labs that make us worry. And at what cost are we okay with people being guinea pigs? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, is it for the better good? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. Right?
You do start to wonder, are these pathogens getting loose? Are they doing it on purpose? Yes. Is the chemtrails, our water, our food? We've got Flint, Michigan, contaminated water and Zika virus, and new one here in Wisconsin called the Elizabeth King.
It's Elizabeth King. That's a typo.
Elizabeth King.
In Wisconsin.
In Wisconsin. This is a new thing we've just been hearing about, and people are dying.
Yeah, they're 18 are dead so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
So,
we got that going for us.
and that, you told me about the history. We talked about the history of this. Do you go over that in
Yep,
here?
we get
Okay.
into that. What happens is they start giving the disease to animals to see how it spreads. And then, they give it some time.
Fluff. Have a little drink.
There was this episode of South Park where there was this turkey pig or something. There was this crazy guy at the lab, and then he let go of all the turkeys. It was this Thanksgiving episode. All the turkeys went rabid. Oh my God, it was hilarious. That's what I think of. But anyways, okay, so that's what they do. They start with these animals and they give it time and see what ways and symptoms, But
Fascinating.
you wonder, is this a masquerade for this population control? Are they just doing that just, to test things out? But in the meantime, they've got a whole other lab going on that's a lot more serious. We don't know. So, let's talk about the possibility, if it's not the government purposely doing this, let's talk about the possibility of these viruses getting out somehow by accident through air, a bug, a bird, an animal, a worker at the island. I mean, we could have a pandemic.
Oh, very easily.
The West Nile virus, the cases were in Suffolk County, which is where Plum Island is. And then later, human cases in Queens, New York. So these viruses that are going to these places and being traveled to other places, it's starting right around Plum Island. At the same time, August 1999, a Boy Scout camp, also in Suffolk County, Long Island, it was closed due to malaria.
Yeah.
A case of malaria with Boy Scouts, and they
happens.
They go camping. They don't go
Boy
across
Scouts
the country.
get malaria all the time.
So come on. In June of 1999, there were reports of a tick-borne encephalitis in New England.
That's a cool word.
Encephalitis.
Encephalitis. I want one.
And there was a flu-like illness on Block Island, which is close to, Plum Island. If it's not purposely, and you think about these accidents that happen, the workers are working with organisms and poisons so dangerous that they has no cure, and it causes people to get sick, and then
I'm not really sure I'd want this job.
No, you wonder who takes these jobs, or maybe they don't realize, this is their thing too. So they may take all the precautions, like they talk about how many showers a day they have to take and all this stuff. But I don't know. It's not worth it to me. Workers can get bitten. They can get scratched by infected animals. They get skin cuts, open flesh from the needle sticks. I mean, anyway, right?
Well, in 2007, there's been documented accidents involving 44 labs in 24 states. Deadly viruses like the anthrax, the bird flu, monkeypox, and other wonderful plague-causing bacteria have been involved. And more than 24 incidents were still under investigation at that time. And that was over a decade ago. This even included lost shipments. Oh, sorry, lost your disease.
A whole shipments of diseases.
They went over there by that nun.
And I wonder...
That's why she steals. She got bitten by one of those things, and now she's a thief. It's a thief disease.
Thief disease.
Yes.
Steal snacks.
Snacks.
So all the other nuns in the covenant are going to start
now they're
stealing?
all going to do it. There's going to be nuns all over the place. Penguin thieves.
Great. I'm looking forward to seeing that on my camera.
That's great.
Well, there's been a number of outbreaks from Plum Island in general, too. In July of 2008, the Montauk monster washed up on Long Island. At least two others were found.
And you can also look up this, too, the Montauk monster.
Yeah, and it's a pretty popular, obviously, if you guys know what we're talking about, about Plum Island, you've seen
And if you
pictures.
don't, maybe you should look it up then.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, the Montauk monster is the real gross, weird-looking thing.
It's an experiment. Mix this with mix that, add this to add that.
Yeah, it's probably like cattle, pig, cow,
remember years ago, and I know I think it was in Wisconsin, one of the things about, cloning people and all that, and they, come across with all these, make that illegal, make this illegal. Oh, yeah, like they stopped.
Right.
Really.
Okay, we're done.
Yeah,
That's like, Iran, stop building bombs. Okay.
Okay, we won't. We'll put a sanction on you. Ooh, okay. Whatever. They're going to do what they're going to do. They just want to take it out of the public eye.
Well, yeah, because if the government are the ones doing this, they can't sanction themselves or, slap themselves on the wrist, so they got to make it look good.
I get this whole...
And I think that's why they keep a lot of people out of the limelight, and a lot of people they don't give this information to, because they're going to be the fallbacks to this.
Best thing to do is nuke them. Nuke everybody.
Put a wall around Plum Island.
Yeah, put a wall around it. Nuke the center. Nuke it.
One guy who used to work there says that if it wasn't so close to, all the states, he said that they should nuke it. That's how bad it is. But then it's like, yikes, I don't know.
No, well, when you nuke something, it's pretty much done.
It's done? It wouldn't spread?
Yeah, there's nothing going to really last with that.
Yeesh. Well, yeah.
Fire purifies all things, my sons.
Okay, well, another thing was a mutilated human body in 2010 came up on Plum Island Beach. The body was mutated with elongated fingers and 5 drilled holes in his head. Really? The cops refused to comment on that find, but the Suffolk Police Department had to put out some kind of news release.
Guess that made him somewhat holy.
Somewhat. Lame. He was a white male, 6'2".
Maybe he died of a headache.
I'm going to die of a headache in a second. He had a large build, very long fingers. They found him in mid-January.
Arsenio Hall.
What?
Maybe it was Arsenio Hall.
He has the longest fingers ever.
I know.
Oh, my gosh.
When he sticks his finger out to point at somebody, you better step back.
Yeah, he's got long fingers. This guy was found in mid-January, and he was only wearing a short-sleeve shirt and cargo pants. No ID to identify him, and they thought it was odd that he was wearing a short-sleeve shirt.
Very odd.
Because it was January, and he would have been a little cold. So they don't know who this guy was.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
Take the walk off the pier over there, would you please? Thank you.
The former Plum Island employee, Jim McCoy, started ousting dangerous safety violations. He said that there's carelessness going on and it could lead to mass casualties on the U.S. citizens. He interrupted a meeting with active director of Homeland Security. Oh, boy. He interrupted, they're all going in there, and he interrupted by saying he was polite. And he was, okay, look, I know that they said I couldn't come to this meeting, but I need to talk to you guys. I have some concerns. I guess he was just real professional, And he asked to speak, but they didn't want to hear him. He said he started to tell them that there was no level of security monitoring inside the biocontainment area. One time, a cow was injected with a virus. It got into the pen with all the other livestock, and they had to kill the livestock.
Yeah.
But the problem was they don't know.
How does one let a cow get loose? I mean, it's one thing if a mosquito escaped. You're like, well, it was pretty small. It happens.
Yeah.
A cow?
Oops.
Have you seen the cow? Where'd he go?
I don't know. Maybe he's down there at the snack bar. I mean, I don't get it.
Maybe he was getting a glass of milk.
Oh, God. In 2002, they lost power. They had no ventilation in the biocontainment area. So to ensure that the viruses would be kept at that negative temperature...
We wouldn't have a such thing as backup generators, would we? Not a biochemical island, no.
No.
Power went out.
Silly. Crap. No, the negative temperatures were for what? You said to...
Well, it keeps everything dormant.
So it doesn't spread.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything that you keep it down in the below zero range, 10 below, whatever, things just, they don't do anything.
Well, then...
Come on, haven't you ever watched any sci-fi films?
Yeah, but I just thought it was always
How
cold.
about like this prehistoric shark that's been in the ice for like 10,000 years, and suddenly there's a warming of climate control, and it just gets out, and before you know it, it's eating airplanes.
Oh, Sharknado.
Yeah, that's so real.
Well, when this happened...
We actually watched some of that stuff. It's so hilarious.
It is good. I like those sci-fi.
Remember that one with that
B-rated.
shark? He's jumping out of the water and he like catches an F-16 in midair. Are you kidding me?
Those are good movies. I love them. Those, I mean, they have nothing on King Kong, of course, but Well, when they lost power and this happened in 2002, they were taking duct tape and putting it around the outside of the doors, trying to contain what might get out. Because when the ventilation and the no power, they couldn't keep it cold.
Man, run.
Yeah. So, hey, I know. Let's tape ourselves inside. And this guy's like, you can't keep viruses in through duct tape.
I don't know. It fixes just about everything else.
It does. It's true.
It could be a virus containment control device.
Duct tape?
Duct tape.
Well, he says no, and he worked there, so I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows?
But what if they missed a spot? Maybe that's what he's saying.
No. Not with duct tape. He does everything.
All around.
It's been holding my checkbook and my phone together for years. While you're laughing, you know it's true.
That's why I'm laughing. Contaminated raw sewage flushed on Long Island, too, at one time.
Contaminated raw sewage flushed.
From Plum Island. Yeah, that's great.
Happens.
So anyways, he lost his job by, presenting this to these people.
Trying to speak up for something. Yeah.
And he ended up suing them. And
he's alive,
won.
though.
He's only alive because he instantly went to the media and sued and everything. So they figured that they couldn't do nothing to him, And he won. He won the lawsuit, so...
There's a bunch of millions of dollars. Be quiet now.
Yeah, and he's like, all right. But he says he knows that there's places where bodies are buried on Plum Island because the bioweapons may have escaped and got to these people and they died there. So
or they're experimenting on them. It's like, that didn't work.
Okay, put them in Section 4.
So Homeland Security has a base right at Plum Island Port Marina. It's the ferry terminal for Plum Island workers.
Yep.
Now, they'll do what they can to keep people from going out to the island, but captains are threaten to be stripped of their captain's license if they charter out there.
So they got to be real careful.
So they get too close, you get too far, they're charting out there, been paid to go out there. It's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, whoops.
We will sink your ship and we'll take your children.
Well, they decided now to move to Manhattan, Kansas. It's the central part of our country where the majority of our food supply comes from. That sounds like a good idea.
That's where I want my disease-controlled substances to be.
Yeah, hey.
What happens if you put it in a piece of corn?
Gross. Oh, construction of the facility officially began May of last year, but it's scheduled to become fully operational in 2022.
Ah,
so
we got that to look forward to.
So we got a while yet.
Good a while yet.
Oh.
That's right.
Well,
if
which
the GMOs don't get you, this will.
Well, that's why the whole Plum Island thing isn't closed, right?
It's called the NBAF, which is the National Bio and Agro Defense Facility. Wonderful. Not only is it there, is a major college, but right up Tornado Alley. So get the disease going on, tornado comes out, spreads it all over. Ooh. But these places are built pretty good.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, I wouldn't be too afraid of that happening with a tornado because a lot of it will be underground. Well, it's what they intend on doing is the problem.
Well, the argument, though, would be that Plum Island wasn't that secure, so who's to say that?
Yeah, how's that going to be more secure? And if an island can't be secure.
I know.
If you can't secure an island, which is, all by itself with no connecting property,
exactly,
then how the heck do you make something more secure in the middle of the country?
That's stupid. That's what I'm saying. Harp could mess the weather up, though. They could be like, "Oh, tornado's coming, so let's shift that tornado away from our little germ lab."
Oh no, they'd send it here, and then there's the whole reason how it happened, right? Oh, tornado came,
not our
disease
fault.
Got out, everybody's dying. Sorry, our bad.
And then you got Brad Pitt fighting zombies.
Oh yeah. Well, if you got Brad Pitt, though, you're probably pretty safe.
Well, I'd want to hang out with Michonne and Rick Grimes. That's all I gotta say.
That's true. Yeah. So rest assured, they've already begun work in that area. So is it a coincidence that the FEB, a new killer virus, was found in Kansas? A healthy 50-year-old man died, and they're calling it
Bourbon
virus after the country in Kansas where the man lived. He was bitten by ticks before he got sick.
Huh. Imagine that. What a coincidence.
Ticks and mosquitoes. Happens.
Because that whole Eric Traub, he was using ticks and mosquitoes. And now they're doing this in Kansas where he gets this tick. The family recalls him talking about one specific tick being big and fat on him. And a few days later, he develops nausea, diarrhea, weakness. So he's getting it. And by the third day, fever, muscle aches, chills. And then he goes to the doctor, who prescribed this antibiotic called doxycycline, and it can treat severe tick-borne infections, including one that causes Lyme disease. Imagine that. He's in and out of consciousness, and his heart and his kidneys fail, and he died 11 days after becoming ill.
Wow, that's fast.
That's fast.
And this guy was, 50, so he's not like 70 or 80, in his body.
Yeah, he was healthy.
They say he was healthy, so that's saying, that's...
He had tick bites, and imagine that. And in Kansas. So, I don't know.
I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Oh, I wouldn't want to be there anyways.
Wouldn't want to be there. Don't go there.
Okay, so the other reason that this is important is because the thought that Lyme disease came from Eric Traub on Plum Island is tied into this whole,
Yeah, this thing gets kind of deep. It doesn't take, but it's...
you just got to research out who, where,
you'd
what,
be surprised.
when.
A couple clicks of a button on your finger, you can find out a whole bunch of information.
You need to know where to look,
But you got to think about where to look. And it's weird how things are tied together.
Yeah, because you can't just look on any website because you actually have to look for documents when you're doing this research.
Yeah.
Now, Lyme, Connecticut is close to Plum Island, so that's the city that Lyme disease is named after because they were the first to have the outbreak in 1975.
Lyme disease started by Plum Island.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Imagine that.
In Lyme, Connecticut.
Now it's everywhere. Yeah. Who would have thought that?
Who?
What such a coincidence?
It happens. So, Randy Sykes used to work at Plum Island, and he came down with Lyme disease.
Really? Huh.
He has been with these open with these documents where it shows ticks were infected with Lyme disease. He also found that the strain of Lyme disease is patented by the Department of Defense. They patent a disease.
It's our disease. You ain't taking it.
It's mine. He also has documents from 2005 where the feds gave this list and is accidentally leaked that the biowarfare agents that they were working on were anthrax, cholera, desert fever, Lyme disease. See what I'm saying? And they think that some of these diseases which we're going to get into in a minute, that are going on presently in 2016 are tied into that as well. So ticks get out. They get on a bird, a few mosquitoes of the year, the currents blow into the shore, birds migrate, they go to different areas. Now it's a little bit here, a little bit there, right?
So, it just so happens an unknown virus is causing severe respiratory virus in children in the Midwest. In September of last year, coincidentally, of course, months after work began on the new Plum Island, Kansas City facility, a mysterious virus infected at least 10 states all around Kansas, including Kansas City.
Imagine that.
An infectious disease expert, Dr. William Schaffner, said they never had an outbreak that extensive before.
Imagine that.
What are the chances?
Now, just 20 minutes from us, from Scott and I, there's a new disease that's, like we were saying earlier, killed so far 18 people. It's called Elizabeth Kinga outbreak. What is it? We have no idea. Neither do they. It's a virus that usually doesn't affect humans, and they're calling it a medical mystery because it's in the blood. It's killed 18 people, and 44 have been ill that we know of right now. It's actually named after the scientist Elizabeth King, who discovered it in 1959.
1959, and now it's showing up.
Now, she, in part, formed the CDC, and she served as an officer in World War II in Maryland. When I saw that, I started doing research on Elizabeth O. King, and I found out, because I'm like, you know what, World War II, that's when Eric Traub was doing it over on the East Coast over there by Maryland, New York, Plum Island. And guess where her family is from? Suffolk County, Long Island, New York, by Plum Island. Just saying, all same time frame.
Boy.
So, I mean...
So coincidental.
I just put two and two together and researched it to find it.
What did you get?
I got more diseases and more Big Brother conspiracy. Dr. Roger Breeze...
No, we don't make this stuff up.
No, it's not real.
You
can
just
look it up.
takes a little time and a little curiosity and a little pecking around, and you find out all sorts of stuff. Because, people put information in the computer and on the internet, and they put stuff in there, and at the time they're putting it in on one specific thing, they're not thinking about the connection to all the other stuff.
Right.
Isn't it weird how we can go back and find something so old?
Yeah.
I mean, this stuff wasn't in the computers. There was no computers, but yet, no, somebody's taken the time through the years to put all this information out there.
And you wonder if anybody in Milwaukee has done any research on Elizabeth King to see, that tie into, or they even care. They don't care if it's connected to Plum Island, but we do because we know what this is all about. Now, Dr. Roger Breeze was in charge of the Plum Island lab in the 1990s. He admits that humans are being infected with deadly viruses. Now he's the overlord, a chief scientist in the biological weapons program. He's a guy who ran the lab, and he confirms it. And he stated accidentally that, they are testing on humans and people are getting it. And
he's like, oh, did I say that out loud?
But he says the people that work there, they inhale these viruses all the time, and those pathogens will actually adhere to the back of their throat. But he goes, oh, they're not allowed to have pets or go to the zoo. They can't go to a pet store or circus. And these workers are bringing diseases onto the mainland, and we have to hope that they're honest and not around animals.
Yeah, so they don't go to anybody's house, or a friend doesn't, go to somebody's house. Yeah. They have a cat or a dog or a bird or something, and that germ isn't.
Yeah,
what?
Really? What? And you wonder. I mean, are they stuck at that facility for so long, and then they can get out a little while, or are they? I don't know if they're in and out of the mainland a lot.
Be looking for a new job.
Yeah, so it's like we got to trust.
It's okay to make a little less at Walmart. Okay, so A toxic ticking time bomb for an outbreak of cataclysmic proportions. We should move it to Central America, where we do our food supply. That sounds like a good idea.
I think so. Why do you think they're doing that?
Let's just put a whole
They're
bunch...
saying because it's easier to get the cattle and stuff. They don't have to keep transporting the cattle. But
no, it's much easier to transfer the disease. You don't have to ship it around as far.
That's what it is. And they're using it as an excuse. But it's like, is it worth it? Even if that were the truth, then they're saying, well, it's worth, you're in central, of the center of the United States. So that's more important, saving money in the transport of these cattle versus the risk of people getting this disease. When you're in the middle of the United States, it's going to go everywhere. Ka-ching!
Yep.
Oh. So another possible reason that they want to move, it could be because of Al-Qaeda or terrorist threat. And the reason is they were saying that they were a sitting duck in the water and that they're susceptible to attacks. That this one chick that they call Lady Al-Qaeda, her name was Ifia Sadiki, and she's an Al-Qaeda scientist. She's actually was one of the 7 most wanted fugitives. She was captured in 2008. And on her, supposedly, she had handwritten notes about a mass casualty attack, and a list of those targets included Plum Island. I don't know if that's true. That's what they're saying.
I see that.
It could be possible.
I buy that a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah. So, I don't know, but, where I come from, if you're paying the bills, you're the boss. It says, we the people isn't the boss anymore. We trust these agencies to look out for us. We pay their salaries with our taxes. How come we're shut out? Government officials accept what they're told. People turn away until it affects them directly.
Yep, and that's what's happening. Like, do you think people in Flint, Michigan were like, ever cared about any of this stuff? No, but now that they have absolutely no water and it's contaminated and kids are poisoned and people are sick, now it's like, it's a little late, Now, this isn't about Plum Island, but this is about, the government, again, doing warfare. The Navy was just caught conducting secret electromagnetic warfare testing in Washington. Okay, that's
Very
crazy.
nice.
For over 5 years, the Navy's been doing this in public roads. Exposure to electromagnetic frequency radiation has been showing up on medical tests. It's causing numerous health problems, corneal damage, tubular degeneration of testicles. It's shrinking your PP.
I hate that.
Hate when that happens. Brain heating. Okay. Cranial nerve disorders, seizures, convulsions, depression, insomnia, chest pain, and sparking between dental fillings. And death. So, they're
wonder how their
doing it.
testing came out. An activist recently got a hold of an email thread between the Navy and the U.S. Forest Service.
Yeah, it revealed that the Navy's been driving mobile electromagnetic warfare emitters and conducting these electromagnetic warfare tests all along the roads and in the forests, specifically Olympic National Forest and the public roads on Washington Peninsula.
Okay, so there's a little where not to go.
No public notification or warnings were placed to prevent accidental exposure.
So it really comes down to, you folks that are living in this, there's pros and cons to living in small, rural, no-place-no-money places. Because for the most part, they're not going to do, as much experimenting on you. I mean, they may throw one little disease your way just to see what happens to a small 3,000 population community. But overall, I think you're a little safer because they seem to like to work with bigger areas to watch the disease spread and electromagnetic junk and all that. So you're going to have to weigh it out as to whether you want to live in a big city or a small city.
Where did we hear that they had 7,000 islands? We should just move to one of those little islands.
Philippines.
Philippines?
Philippines.
Caribbean? I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. We were watching something, and they said they had 7,000 islands. I think we should just move one of those. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, that's what we should do. There's got to be one for us.
It's got to be 7,000. I'll share one with you guys. That's fine. So the Navy's EMF testing was taking place in public areas and popular tourist destinations for 5 years, and now that they're caught, they've got a little backup. Oh no, we were just doing this. A little late now. That's why people are getting sick.
Sorry. So besides harmful effects on humans, large-scale negative impacts on animals, The Navy, of course, maintains that the public isn't at risk during this training. Oh, silly you. We would never want to hurt the American people as long as they don't know about it.
And you know what? And I think a lot of those guys that, work, and I absolutely love the military and what they do.
Well, it's all...
They're just following orders, and they don't know what's really going on. They're
lied to, too. Some of them are.
Right.
There's only those that are the very top of command that know exactly what
they're doing. So I don't blame
doing.
the military
and,
for it.
it's all sold as what's best for the people overall, and we have to experiment somehow, and this in the future will help this. That's like,
So we're not blasting the military. We love the military.
Yeah,
but it just stinks what's going on.
But they're control about what they can do, too.
Yeah.
Or what they're going to do.
Or they'll threaten their family. Remember I told you about my uncle? His family was threatened.
I don't know.
Okay, so a Navy contractor told the news it would take just 15 minutes for that electromagnetic radiation to liquefy tissue in the eye.
Oh.
Oh, all right.
Well,
so it's
you
not
start
just...
feeling a little watery around 12 minutes or so. You need to get out.
Get out now.
Your eye.
But they're saying, oh, no, there's no risk to the public. It's not just dangerous, but the law that we trust is violating the law. So it's not just the chemicals in our atmosphere and toxins in our food, viruses in our air, but electromagnetic impulses in the airwaves.
Happens.
Yeah, so we're just not safe anymore.
So you combine fear, greed, money, and what have you got? A biowarfare issue much worse than any terror group.
Yeah.
The worst enemy is the one within, the one you trust.
So I'm just...
Doesn't it seem more powerful when I say it that way, though?
Oh, yeah. I feel it.
The worst enemy is the one within. The one that you trust the most. That's closest and dearest to your heart. That bleeds. No, just go ahead.
Bleeds. Your eyes, tissue, bleed. Okay. I'm scared. Well, so the whole thing about Plum Island, we're not trying to scare anybody. We're just giving the new information.
Oh, don't be scared. You're safe here in the homeland. Go ahead, breathe it, eat it, drink it. It's all fine.
You might get it, you might not. It's just
a mosquito.
It is what it is.
Just a little, it's gone.
I just say stock up on colloidal silver. Start having that because that's a natural antibiotic.
Well, don't say that. Now the government's going to contaminate all that now. We need to have that FDA approved.
Well, then I better get a bunch now and stock up.
So
it's just, all the things that are going on between Michigan's water and the Elizabeth King virus and just all these diseases.
Agony, defeat.
All these things going on. So it's all connected to Plum Island. And all those types of germ lab facilities. That one's just well known because it was outed. So if you guys want to know more about Plum Island, there's this book called Lab 257, The Disturbing Story of the Government's Secret Plum Island Germ Laboratory. It's by Michael C. Carroll, and it is good. I actually downloaded it, was reading it, and it's got so much information, and he's been studying, researching for so many years, and he's got information from people who were in there, and it'll confirm everything we've said, but it'll give you so many more details too. So you can always check that out as well. So, you know what time it is?
Right about now, you're about to be possessed.
Hit it.
All right. What rocks? Yes, you do. But Tallahassee, Florida, Lindsay and Mark Knox were having a baby last Saturday. They sent out a text message to some friends. Only one text was the wrong number. Dennis Williams was with his brother Derek, when he received this strange text. The text said, "We are at the hospital having a baby today. She has dilated between 5 and 6 inches." Well, he realized it was the wrong number, and he texted back. And he put, "Congrats, LOL, but I think someone got the wrong number." The couple didn't get that reply, and later they sent out a pic of the baby Carson, the newborn. Well, the guy responded. He said, "Well, I don't know, y'all, but me and the boys will be there soon to take a picture with the baby." So the new parents finally realized their mistake and apologized, but the Williams boys insisted on showing up with gifts for this baby. Isn't that cool? So just by a mistake, you know what that happened to me once, sort of? Well, actually, it wasn't a really good story, actually.
Okay, maybe we shouldn't.
Me and my friend, we were calling somebody, and she got the wrong number, and she started talking to them, and then in the conversation, she realized it was some guys that we didn't know, and then Then we realized that they were like 2 blocks from where I lived, and that's where we were. She goes, okay, we'll come pick you up. We didn't even know these people. So we go pick them up, and she was like totally infatuated with one of these guys. And one of them looked like the flock of seagulls, the 80s hair thing going because it was in the 80s. And they were just so gross. Come to find out, like they were pimps and drug dealers. And we went to a club with them, and they like we realized what was going on. We're like, oh my God, we're never picking these guys up again. Yeah. So.
Yeah, Heidi, I know. You're thinking that ain't true.
It is. You can just ask my friend Margie.
Yeah, that's the way, I know.
It happened, though.
Feel for me, people.
It didn't turn out as good as that story.
So what's the reject? Another case of someone not doing their job.
See why I picked this for you?
Yep. I live in a society, in a world that is surrounded by people not doing their job. That's all you got to do is your part. Do your part correctly. If everybody did that, perfection. But, so after a long battle with cancer, Val Jean McDonald, mother of 8 sons with more than 20 grandchildren, 20 great-grandchildren, 3 great-great-grandchildren, passed on December 18th at the age of 81. Her funeral, 11 days later, brought tons of mourners from family to church. They all filed in, passed by the open coffin, viewing familiar remnants of Miss McDonald's life, a favorite pink blouse, a white suit, and her finest jewelry. Why did they cut off all of her hair? A son remembers thinking, maybe it's the cancer. No, so a grandchild said, Daddy, that's not Grandma. Her father replied, it was, explaining that people can look different in death.
Which is true.
Right.
They do the embalming.
So the next day, the family attended the Miss McDonald's cremation. 6 days passed. Then the manager of the funeral home called and said, the body was not your mother. Your mother is still here. There was a mix-up in bodies.
Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry. That's a huge mistake. Oh,
hey, listen, Mr. McDonald, hey, how you doing there? Listen, we got a little problem here down at the funeral home here. Your wife and she's still here. Yeah. Well, I really wish we could finish this thing up. I tell you, this lady's really starting to smell bad.
Well, imagine how the family felt of the person that they did cremate.
Oh, that's the bigger problem.
Yeah, they didn't
talk about that. The bigger problem is for the one. I mean, they can still go back and have yet another funeral, which is, lawsuit, whatever. But what about the one that
doesn't have
they sent through and did all this work and it's gone, and them people never got to have a real funeral?
Man, if that was me, I never would have called them. They would have never known. But then again,
that's
the
when
other
you're being
family,
a sketch artist, and so exactly what did she look like? We could probably fab up some sort of little, doll.
Oh my gosh,
paper
they probably
face.
had to tell them because the person that they did, didn't look like. I don't know, but so this little kid's like, hey, that's not Grandma. Yeah, it is. Shh. Hey, they cut off all their hair. Boy, she sure looks different. None of these people in her family or church knew.
And the youngest kid probably, I don't know how old. Was
the
this
little
the
kid.
great-grandchild?
Yeah.
So I don't know how old he was. At 81, I can't imagine that kid could have been too. If she died at 81, and this is a great-great-grandchild, 81's not, 91 or 101. So I'd say he's really little, probably 5, 6, 7 years old. That ain't Grandma. It's like, and he knows, because everybody else is not going to say anything. Yeah, that ain't her.
Oh, what a mistake.
Grandma. With the big news you have.
So that's the reject, is that people just don't do their jobs.
Do your job.
I love it.
Drops the toe tag. Just put it over there, that one over there. That'll be fine.
Now, next week is April Fool's Day, next Friday.
Yeah.
So we're going to have
Which happens to be our son's birthday.
Yeah.
It really is.
Believe it or not. So it'll be interesting. We'll have like a fun, random.
It's appropriate, too, that his birthday's on April Fool's Day. It's very appropriate.
It'd be appropriate if it was ours. But
yeah. So check us out next Friday night. Same time, same place. But until then, stay sweet as honey and cool as money. Bright and sunny and Robin Williams funny.
Hey, this is Heidi from Talk Supernatural. You know I like to talk, so let's keep the confab hot. Follow us on Twitter at TSR Parapod. And check out our Facebook page, Talk Supernatural Podcast. We air for you, so hit us back. We'd love to hear what you think of the show, too, so email us, talksupernatural@gmail.com, and we'll give you a shout-out on air.
out more from Talk Supernatural Radio, head over to tsradio.net. You can listen to TSR on iTunes, Spreaker, TuneIn, and YouTube. If you have any questions or would like to know more on spiritual afflictions, hauntings, demonic influence, check out Scott and Heidi's SWAT resource site at EPH612SWAT.com.
This world's a tortured place to be. So many things to torment me. And as I stumble down this road, it takes a toll. I need an intervention, but I can see it coming. Some things just can't be explained.
And that's all, folks.